Now, gold medal speed skater Steven Bradbury is known as one of our luckiest athletes. But the real story is that he worked ferociously for his luck over 2 decades. An inspirational story. Now he's to receive a bravery commendation from the Governor-General after taking to the waves last March, saving the lives of 4 teenage girls from drowning in 2-metre swells. Here's one of the girls on 9 News.
We'll be forever grateful for saving our lives. Without him, we wouldn't be here. I didn't think I would make it back if no one had come to rescue us. We'd have no chance.
Now, Olympic gold is awesome, of course, it's brilliant, but risking your life to save the lives of strangers, that is next level. Steven Bradbury joins me from Brisbane. Steven, it's such an honour to speak with you and congratulate you on your bravery and the recognition you're getting, and also your son Flynn too, who helped you on that day.
Yeah, Flynn was part of it as well, Chris, and thanks for having me on Sky News. I'm a big fan of Sky. Personally, I prefer Paul Murray's show, but, yours is all right too. I love the common sense that's on there, mate.
You'll keep.
But yeah, mate, going back to the rescue.
Yeah, just tell us about it. Tell us, it was up there on the Sunshine Coast and you were there with your son and he had a surfboard. Tell us how it unfolded.
Yeah, well, I was giving my son surfing lessons. It was a big swell day, 2 metres plus, and we were on the reform on the inside at Kings Beach at Clounder, and I glanced out the back and I saw what I thought was a log out in the lineup, and then as the next wave went over, I realised it was a head, and I was like, well, whoever's out there shouldn't be out there, so I need to go. And the adrenaline kicked in straight away. I got the leg rope off my son, put it on my foot, and I said to Flynn, you got to bolt for the lifeguards, and him and his mate Lennox bolted off down after the lifeguards, and I paddled out, and I got out there, and this girl Zoe, who's the one that I'd seen, when she spotted me, the fear in her eyes was something that I couldn't unsee it for weeks. And as I got closer to her, I realised that there was 3 more heads further out that were right in the impact zone, getting smashed by every wave that came in. And I had to make the split-second call that I couldn't rescue them all at once. So I got Zoe on the board, I paddled her in, turned around, paddled back out, and I got out to the other 3, and yeah, it wasn't a good scene, Chris. One of them was hyperventilating, another one had taken in a bit of water, and the third one was a really good swimmer, and she was just trying to calm the 2 of them down.
Wow, so and you couldn't move any of them then? I got the 3 of them onto the board.
I got 3 of them on the board with me on the back trying to kick, and we couldn't go anywhere. We were too heavy with 3.5 people on the board. And I wasn't sure what the next move was going to be, but just after that, the lifeguards showed up, and they plucked the 2 girls that were in distress into the rubber ducky and took them into shore. I got the 3rd girl on the front of the board who was also a good swimmer and knew how to paddle, so her and I paddled the board in and got them all into safety, fortunately.
Just amazing, Steven. And look, apart from knowing how dangerous the situation was for them and how frightened some of them were, you must have been frightened for your own safety there for a while.
I can handle myself in waves. I've been surfing since I was a teenager, and yeah, I suppose if I get a little bit personal on it, I was glad that the adrenaline kicked in, and when the pressure was on, like when you compete at the Olympics, it's go time. And, I'm nearly 50. I'm not quite as fit as I used to be. So to know that I can still perform under pressure was a good feeling.
Oh, a hell of a feeling, Steven. Just tell us then about the sense of gratitude and accomplishment that you felt when the girls thanked you.
Yeah, well, that was a little overwhelming. I couldn't keep it together. Zoe, the girl I'd got out first, she come running up to me and she hugged me so hard that she squeezed the little breath that I had left out of me, and she said, "Thank you for saving my life." And I kind of went a little bit weak at the knees, and yeah, I had to sit down on a rock for a little while, and my son Flynn was sitting next to me, and one of the other girl that was hyperventilating, once they got her in, she couldn't control herself. She couldn't get her breathing back to normal, so the ambulance had shown up and they had oxygen on her, and, I was just sitting there with my son Flynn, and after about 15 minutes I said, "Flynn, I think we're done here." And we just walked off, and that was the end.
What a brilliant thing to do with your son as well, playing such an important role. Can you compare the high of that with a gold medal? I know they're totally different, but you must have almost a greater satisfaction because you've literally protected real lives.
yeah, it was a feeling I'd never felt before in myself, to know that you've actually saved somebody else's life. It's proud and a little bit scary at the same time, because the incident had just finished. But yeah, the bravery award that I've received for it, I'm happy to accept it. But also, I think most people in that situation, I was the only person there that could have saved those girls' lives at that particular moment. And I think anyone who was in that situation that could handle themselves in the surf would have done the same thing.
Brilliant stuff. Congratulations again, Stephen. I just want to ask you while I got you there, because I talked to my little boys about your story, because so many people see that Olympic gold medal moment as a lucky gold medal. But when you delve into your story, 2 decades of toil, world championships, an Olympic bronze medal, horrific injuries, and you kept going. God, you worked so hard and excelled so long to get yourself into that position. If ever there was a story about making your own luck, or the harder you work, the luckier you get, yours is it, surely. And I know you travel around now telling that story. It's a wonderful inspiration to people.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Appreciate that, mate. And, I'm the luckiest individual Olympic gold medalist in sporting history. No one's been luckier than me when it comes to the finals at the Olympic Games. But that doesn't change the fact that, I trained my guts out 5 hours a day, 6 days a week for 14 years to become an overnight success. Yes. And, if that isn't a good lesson for our kids, I'm not a big fan of when your kids come home from school with a participation certificate. I don't think that's enough in today's competitive world. That's a starting point. But at some point, you've got to push your kids so they can get good at something. That's Brilliant. What my dad did for me.
Absolutely. Brilliant to talk to you, Stephen. Thanks so much for joining us. You can sit around now and watch Paul Murray, your favourite show, and that's okay. It's my favourite show too. See you later. Steven Bradbury there, Olympic gold medalist, of course, in the Winter Olympics, and now a commendation for bravery, for saving the lives of those 4 girls in Queensland last year.